back. So, I hope you're ready because I have a bunch of fun stories for you. First, scientists have created artificial humans using, well, I'll tell you what they're using later, but they're not using sperms or eggs. There's rumors about sequels for big movies, including Edge of Tomorrow 2, Alita Battle Angel 2 that I want to break down. There's also rumors about Bungie developing another property to make into a movie. There's a bunch of really fun stuff. And we're going to break it down. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
Alright, so welcome to another laid back Monday. You know, this is just our time for us to relax, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So, for those of you who are joining me, it's our time to crack open a beer, you know, after a weekend, relaxing, chilling, having a good time. Hopefully you can hear me. I just noticed that I don't see any audio. Yeah, alright, okay, you got audio. Hopefully. If you can't hear me, let me know, but yeah. Crack open a cold one, have a beer. I know I should probably do this on Fridays, but you know what? The hell with it. The hell with it. It's been a long weekend. And before I even get into the news, I'm going to break down my weekend a little bit. I actually had a pretty good week. It was fun. So, cheers everybody. Thanks for joining me, whoever's out there. Yeah. I had a good week. Well, in general, last week was pretty good. I spent most of my week babysitting my niece. Well, not specifically. I was hanging out at my brother's house because he's got construction going on, and he's like, hey, could just keep an eye on the kids. And so it was like a full-time gig. The majority of the week, just hanging out with my niece, trying to entertain a kid for 8 hours. It's truly something. Let me tell you, I like kids. I have fun with kids. I'm childish. I honestly have a good time, but it's exhausting. And it's really interesting to see kids entertainment in action because, you know, they put on some YouTube videos and stuff. You get to hear their music, and you're just like, man, I could do this so easily. Like, they put very little effort into this. It could be very easily done. Just grab a couple of puppets, and, you know, you just start making them do ridiculous sounds, and it doesn't really matter what you say because the kids are just looking at the movement and stuff. And I was like, man, you know what? I might do that. Like, fuck this podcast. I might just start doing stuff for kids. You know, I got puppets. I got toys. You just got to make them pretend to be talking with each other. And it doesn't really matter because the audience doesn't care. So it was one of those things like, I put so much effort into making things look good, but the real success, like, this thing has millions of views and it's total garbage. I might do this. I might change careers. So that was interesting. Again, getting to see child entertainment in action is truly something. And it's one of those things like, maybe I've had my entire career wrong this whole time. I don't know. It's a possibility. We'll see. I also went to the Padres game. They beat the Rays on Saturday. It was awesome. It was a great time. The sun was out. It was a beautiful weekend. It was Father's Day. Got to hang out with my dad. It was also my brother's birthday. So it was a good time. Hopefully you had a good time as well. It was truly something to be back at the stadium. Seriously, I know everybody says this, but Petco Park really is the greatest stadium out there. I remember going out to the Q, and the thing that the Q had that Petco Park doesn't, for those of you who don't know, Petco Park is where the Padres play, they had way better ice cream cones. Like, the Q had these ginormous ice cream cones. I didn't care about baseball. When my dad took me, I was like, I cared about going for the ice cream cone. So, I mean, that was a really expensive ice cream cone if you're him, but I guess he likes hanging out with us. And so he wanted us to get into the sport, but I was just into those ice cream cones, man. So, Petco Park, they don't compare. Sorry, they don't compare. They need to step it up there, but everything else, it's a gorgeous park. And where we were, the area, I don't even know what it's called. I think it's called the beach. We caught a bunch of baseballs, you know, because the players throw it at you. So I recommend it. If you get the chance, it's pricey. And it's all super pricey when you don't have a job. But it's honestly worth it. So, fortunately, I'd paid it before I lost my job. So, there you go. And before I forget, speaking of, as always, comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Super Dario World and at DariusDW on Instagram. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share this video, subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. I really appreciate it. I'm working on putting this little like ringer or whatever whenever somebody subscribes to the channel. I haven't done it yet because I think it's silly, but apparently it's popular, so I gotta do it. But whatever. Today I had a pretty interesting day. I had somebody ask me if they could meet me for coffee and if we could, discuss the industry in general. Give a young individual advice on, her career and what to do in the film industry. It was fun. Honestly, it was enjoyable. It was one of those things like, man, I should be a mentor. I should be a teacher. I did a pretty good job. I don't know if I traumatized the person or not, but I think I did a fairly good job, and it got me in a good mood. It's one of those days you're feeling good about life in general, right? Maybe a little bit early before I was like a bit bummed or whatever. I was tired, but yeah, afterwards I felt good. Sometimes, doing good makes you feel good. I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I'm just high on life. Who knows? But I'll keep riding the wave as far how far it gets me. I've also been thinking a lot about the podcast, like what things could I do different, and I'm liking this Monday kind of news day. Just break down the weekend a little bit and then grab 2, 3, 4, 5 stories that catch my attention, and let's just break it down. Sit back, enjoy them, have a few laughs, make some fun of things, because as always, life is just stupid. And most of these stories are probably stupid, but whatever. Then the rest of the week, Tuesdays will be Otaku Tuesdays. Again, just sitting back, talking anime, enjoying it with my kid brother. And the rest of the week, I don't know, probably review some movies. I still haven't seen Spider-Man, the Spider-Man sequel, Across the Spider-Verse. I really want to see that. The Flash movie came out. That one took me by surprise. I've been really out of it. But I've heard things. I've heard really good things about Spider-Man. I've heard things about The Flash. We'll see. Both of them I'm excited to see. I will see them, and after I do, I will review them. So hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later. This week looks a little bit more open than last week, so we'll see how it goes. Anyway, it's super hot in here. I need to get a bigger fan, or maybe some AC. I don't know. So let's get into it. Let's break down pieces of news that I found interesting this week. Actually, some of these are from pretty far back, but whatever. Just whatever. It's still news. It's still fun to talk about. So first one, right off the bat. Let's see who recognizes that image. But Bungie has announced that they are currently working on a movie and TV show based off of their intellectual property, Destiny. Now, for those of you who don't know, Bungie is the studio that created the Halo, they created the Halo video games. They currently do not work on those because it's owned by Microsoft. They put another studio on it, but they created the Halo franchise, and then they created another franchise called Destiny. Now, Destiny is obviously nowhere near as big as Halo, but it's fun. It has its moments. It's an enjoyable game. I've had a good time playing it, but again, it's not nowhere near as fun as Halo ever was. But it's okay. It's fun. The story's interesting enough. They have Nathan Fillion in it, so if Nathan Fillion's not in the movie or in the TV show, I'm gonna be pissed. But he voices a character, so he'll probably be there. Who knows? We'll see. Supposedly, I'll just read it here. Gabriel Van Hoos took to LinkedIn to announce that he had been hired by Bungie to serve as the new head of linear media for their Destiny IP. He also hinted to a future Destiny movie in the post. So, this is what a few things that say there. In his role, Van Hoos, he'll work with the Destiny Universe leadership team to create strategy and execute the operations for expansion of Destiny into new media, including TV, films, books, comics, and audio formats. This new position will work with the Destiny Universe leadership team to create strategy and execute the operations for expansion of Destiny into new media, blah, blah, blah. I already read that. Why would they put that twice? Whoever wrote this article is an idiot. And whoever started reading it without checking it first is an even bigger idiot. Destiny has a universe worth of stories waiting to be told, and I look forward to connecting best-in-class partners to our amazing creative team to bring them to life for current and new fans. I'll be honest with you. I'm not caught up on all the Disney stories, right? I started playing the first one. Basically, there's a big cataclysm and you got to stop it, right? Big bad came, you got to stop it. The second one, I haven't gone through the whole, and there's a buttload of expansions, so it's kind of difficult. And well, again, it wasn't really my jam, but whatever. But the story was fun. The story seemed interesting enough. The universe, the visuals, all that stuff. They could have fun with it. They could enjoy it. So we'll see. The point here, the bigger point here is studios are getting into the movie and TV business. And if they say audio stuff, that means that there's going to be a podcast. Now, it could be too much. Could be like an overwhelming amount of media. Who knows? But if the studio who created the intellectual property, in this case Destiny, if Bungie, they're gonna protect their product, right? And if they're directly involved, they didn't sell off the rights to somebody else. If they're directly involved in creating something, they're gonna make sure it's good. They're gonna make sure, or they should they should make sure that it's aligned with everything that that makes the video game great. So this is a good sign for the industry, especially right now. As you guys know, or some of you may not know, there's a writer's strike going on. So if video game developers start using their own talent to write these things and start, kicking all the other bad writers out because they suck, who knows? Who knows what we might get? But it could be interesting. Let's just say I'm cautiously optimistic. Also, this should be an anime, but whatever. Next, we got some movie rumors for you. Something good, most of them bad. Actually, no, they're all bad. So, Alita Battle Angel has... Oh, for those of you who don't know, it's a movie based off an anime, based off a manga that... How would you describe it? I'll let IMDb describe it for me, because I like their summaries usually. And I like complaining about their summaries too. But it was directed by Robert Rodriguez, and basically... Here's the description according to IMDb. A deactivated cyborg's revived, but can't remember anything of her past and goes on a quest to find out who she is. The movie is really good, especially for a manga adaptation. It's great. It's among the best. I loved it. I really enjoyed watching it. They hit the nail on the head. Robert Rodriguez did a great job, and it was produced by oh, damn it. I can't forget. James Cameron. Oh, I know I'm terrible with names, but I can't forget James Cameron. And so Robert Rodriguez said that he was trying to make the movie like James Cameron makes his movies. He followed James Cameron rules because Robert Rodriguez is basically a cowboy. He makes things his own way, but this time he gave himself, I don't know, I need to make a James Cameron movie because James Cameron is going to be the producer, and he's a co-writer in this, so I need to honor him. Anyway, by the way, for those of you who don't know, James Cameron, director of Terminator, Terminator 2, Aliens, Avatar. There you go, in case you didn't know who I was talking about. Anyway, fans have been asking for an Alita Battle Angel sequel for a very long time, because the people who watched the movie liked it. Now, a lot of people didn't watch it because a lot of people are like, it's like an anime movie, it's a manga movie, it's an adaptation. I'm not a weeb, I'm not an otaku, I don't really care. But the movie's real good. Every single person who's seen the movie has at least not hated it that I've talked to. Maybe there's people who have, but overall, the movie was fun. It was enjoyable. So, I got some bad news for you if you're waiting for a sequel. Reportedly, Alita Battle Angel will only happen if James Cameron directs it. So, these are rumors that are going around, and apparently the studio does not want to make the movie unless James Cameron steps behind the camera, which is not likely to happen because he didn't do the first one. But this seems like a massively bad idea. But I'll read you here what it says. So, according to the latest report, Cameron, who wrote the screenplay of the original film, is being asked to direct Alita Battle Angel 2. While Cameron and producer John Landau are trying to get a sequel made, Disney CEO Bob Iger reportedly won't give the go-ahead on the project unless Cameron is the one directing. As I mentioned before, the first one was directed by Robert Rodriguez. So, this is a very bad news for the Alita Battle Angel franchise because, as you guys may or may not know, James Cameron, kind of a busy guy. He's kind of busy with a little thing called Avatar. We're in the second of like 5 films. So his focus is kind of there. And the only reason why Bob Iger wants James Cameron to step in behind, the camera and be the director for it is because he is hoping that having James Cameron direct it is going to boost up sales. That's the only reason. Which is, a terrible reason. Well, then it's not a terrible reason. I get it's a good business decision. Like, I'm not going to sink money into a sequel that nobody's going to watch. Or maybe just, the diehard fans, the people who really like the first one is going to watch. But I don't think James Cameron is going to stop with the Avatar thing anytime soon. I don't think he's going to have a lot of free time. So this sucks. It means that it's very, very unlikely that we will see an Alita Battle Angel sequel anytime soon. But what can you do? Sometimes things just don't fall the right way. And sometimes, Disney CEOs just suck. So there you go. Following more bad news, there was a little movie that came out a few years ago called Edge of Tomorrow. It's a Tom Cruise movie. I highly recommend it. It's, in many ways, a video game movie. Like, the movie feels like a video game, and it's kind of has time travel in it. Let me break it down for you. Edge of Tomorrow was weird because they changed the title of it while it was in theaters. They changed it to Live, Die, Repeat. It was really weird. That was the original tagline of the movie. I don't know why they changed it, but it was dumb. It was very confusing. But the original title, the title that's on IMDb, it's Edge of Tomorrow. Here's the summary. A soldier fighting aliens gets to relive the same day over and over again, the day restarting every time he dies. So, the movie is pretty good. Honestly, it's one of the funnest uses of time travel I've seen in a while. Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt. As you guys know, Tom Cruise doesn't really make a bad movie. A few years ago, I read an interview. Chef Spawn, saludos hospital. Dude, congratulations, by the way. Hopefully, you're not chewing your nails on. Sorry, buddy of mine, he's about to have his first child, so congratulations to him. Cheers to you. Hope everything goes well. Say hi to your wife for me. Hope everything goes well there too. Rooting for you. Hope the kid is, happy, healthy, and everything, and hope you don't stay there for days like other people have. Hopefully it's a quickie. Well, not too quick, because that's also dangerous too. I don't know if you guys know this, but if having a baby too quick is also bad for you. Too long, too short, bad. Just, sweet spot. Best of luck to you. Love you guys. Hopefully, I'll head out there to Vegas to meet the kids soon. I'm excited for that. Anyway, back to Edge of Tomorrow. The movie was fun. It was enjoyable. And I read an interview with the director a while back. And the director originally was like, I do not want to make a sequel to that movie. Making that movie was a gigantic pain in the ass. And if you see the movie, you can understand why. It's because they repeat the same scene over and over again, only with a few changes, because they keep repeating the same day over and over. And so continuity for that must have been a mess. Like, editing that must have been a mess. Like, their head must have been killing them, because there's a bunch of teeny tiny little details, and there's tricks of editing that you need to do. So the point is, I can understand it being a total nightmare to do. And having to remember how a character has to be in that particular point in time when you're doing something, I get it. I get it. Just in continuity alone, it must have been a mess. So the director was like, one and done. Dog Lyman, by the way. And then supposedly he had a meeting with Tom Cruise. They went out for lunch, and Tom Cruise pitched an idea for a sequel. And the director was like, man, damn you, Tom, I gotta do it. I gotta do that, because that sounds really cool. And so that, as a fan, that got me really excited, because like, oh, well, what idea did Tom Cruise pitch that made a guy who hated working a movie and didn't want to go back to it again because it was such a pain in the ass, want to do it again? So that's masochist level stuff, right? So I was curious. Unfortunately, we continue with the bad news. So the bad news here comes straight out of the co-star of the movie, Emily Blunt. And so they asked Emily Blunt about, the state of the movie, what's going to happen. And this is what she said in an interview with Deadline. Well, I would love to do another one. I don't know when and I don't know how, but I would love it. I don't know if my back could take it. Meaning, there's nothing to report, and if they haven't reached out to her agent or anything, and she can't say anything at all about the project, it's not looking good. Not looking good at all, right? Because she could have said, no, I would love to do it, and there's a possibility or something. No, nothing. Not even a whisper of it. So, again, not looking good for a sequel of what could be a good movie. So, you know how we get a bunch of sequels that are just a bunch of garbage that nobody wants? We don't get sequels to this one, which was actually fun and a good idea. But, alright, whatever. Again, there's a problem with people not listening to fans. It's, I don't get it. I don't get it, but whatever. And speaking about not listening to fans, I got another one. So, like I said, good things do not get sequels. They do not get continued, but bad things do. So, reportedly, Velma, the Max TV show, has been confirmed for season 2 in spite of it having terrible, disgusting reviews. Why do I look drunk? I'm not drunk. I'm just on the verge of getting sick because every single person around me has been sick. I hung out with a buddy of mine who was sick a few days ago. My girlfriend's sick, and my niece thought it was funny to just cough on my face the entire week. So I'm at that point where I'm like, will I get sick or not? Maybe I can power through, maybe not, but yeah, I'm like right there. It could go either way. I'm hoping it goes to the not sick stage, but we'll see. You know, at this point, who knows? Like, I'd rather be sick, like, so then I get through with it. I just don't want to keep fighting it for weeks, because sometimes that happens. You're just on the edge, and it just lingers and lingers and lingers. It's really annoying. I'm hoping I don't reach. I'd rather be sick or not sick. This weird in between sucks. But anyway, as I was saying, Velma got confirmed for season 2 in spite of terrible reviews. And this is one of those things where you're just like, seriously? How stupid can you be? Now, for those of you who don't know, Velma is basically a prequel to Scooby-Doo created by Mindy Kaling. And it's been widely despised by every person who's watched it, fans and critics alike, but they want to keep throwing more money at this. Well, there's a strange irony, because everybody hated the show. Everybody. And so there was this strange thing where, since everybody was talking trash about it, people wanted to see it to see how bad it was. That could work for season 1. I don't think it's going to work for season 2. Like, people, they already got their fill. It's like, I watched it once, bleh. I don't need that in my life, not anymore. And this actually takes us to an interesting thing, because I've been trying to figure out, why is it that we're dealing with the worst generation of writers I've ever seen? And it has a lot to do with projecting, and Velma is the perfect example of it. Now, there's an interesting way, or there's an interesting difference between the way boys and girls play. So I think I've talked about this before, probably. In case you haven't heard it, I'll say it again. I'll try to be quick about it. But there's a different way between how boys and girls play. So boys, if you give them a Batman toy, that toy is Batman. They will play that toy. They will play with that toy as Batman. He will have a Batman-like adventure. He will do Batman-like things. If you give that Batman toy to a girl, and again, having just played with a 3-year-old girl, I noticed this as well and kind of basically confirmed this for me. But that Batman toy is whatever she wants it to be. If she wants that Batman toy to be a chef, it'll be a chef. If he wants it to be a dolphin trainer, it'll be a dolphin trainer. To boys, the toy is Batman. To the girls, it's whatever they want it to be. And it's usually them doing something. So they project. Velma here, I guess over here, is a perfect example of a female writer projecting. She doesn't care who Velma is. She doesn't care all about the lore. She doesn't care about anything. Velma is going to be her. She's going to do whatever she wants her to do. regardless of anything else. Doesn't give a fuck. She's just using the Scooby-Doo franchise as a skin suit, and it's going to do whatever the fuck she wants it is going to be, whatever the fuck she wants it to be. That's why it doesn't work. Because the majority of the audience wants Scooby-Doo to be Scooby-Doo. They want Velma to be Velma. And this is not the Velma that they like. Why? Because she's completely different and makes no fucking sense. Also, Chuck Dominguez, thank you for joining me. And I think, again, this is the biggest issue. Bunch of writers don't respect their characters and are just projecting. They're a bunch of narcissists projecting whatever they want to be, living out their weird, bizarre fantasies and weird, bizarro ways. And you know what? It's fine. Call that a fanfic. You know, fanfics are allowed. But once you get hired to do something that's canon, you need to respect the lore. You need to respect the franchise. You need to respect the fans who probably know this better than you. And so you just going out there and projecting is truly pathetic. Truly, truly pathetic. Why Mindy Kaling felt that she needed to do this to Velma, I don't know. Is it an original take? Listen, it's a take. And clearly not a good one. It's like, you know what makes Scooby-Doo fun? It's lighthearted. It's silly. It's a group of friends with a with a dog who may or may not be talking because, you know, the main characters may or may not be high, trying to stop bad guys. And it turns out, or trying to stop monsters who figure out time and time again that the real monsters are people. You could have fun with that in many different, you could make it more adult. It could be interesting to see how the gang, you know, got started, how they became a crew, but the way that they did it was super stupid and disgustingly bad, and they've done this over and over and over again. You know, it's one of those things, like, for example, I'll keep mentioning it, Lord of the Rings. You know, the Rings of Power. As you're watching it, you're like, did you even watch a movie? Like, did you even watch any of the movies? Because clearly you didn't read the book. Clearly. But did you at least watch one of the movies? One of them? You know, the movies that are considered to be one of the greatest trilogies of all time. Did you even watch them? Or did you watch them and you're like, fuck this, I could do better by projecting in it. Silly, stupid. They keep doing it and they keep losing money, so I like it. Honestly, I'm enjoying this. Keep losing money. It makes me feel better. It's like, suffer with the rest of us. Next. Speaking of Lord of the Rings, this, I don't know how you feel about it, but I just found out about it, so I'm going to mention it. There are more Lord of the Rings movies in the works, because again, you know, we have no more original ideas anymore, and we gotta milk the franchises for all that they're worth. Supposedly, this is going to be an animated movie, so I don't hate it, and they're going to do something interesting with it. So, I'll read it. I'll read to you what it's about. So, the next film will be Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim. You know, like the people from Rohan. It is an animated film that's set 183 years before the events of The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, telling the story of Helm Hammerhand, acted by Brian Cox, a legendary king of Rohan who must defend against an army of Duneldings. I don't know how you say that. Duneldings. All right. He becomes the namesake for the stronghold of Helm's Deep. See, now this could be interesting. And it's animated. So, not terrible here. Fine. You know, you're expanding on something. Hopefully you don't do something too stupid like they did, you know, with Amazon The Rings of Power. Fortunately, this is Warner Brothers, and I believe they went to Peter Jackson, who directed, you know, the original movies and the Hobbit movies, to get some direction on it. He's not going to be the director for it, but, you know, maybe get some insight. Like, what do you think would work here? What wouldn't? All right, we'll see how it goes. Am I excited for more Lord of the Rings stuff? Cautiously optimistic, mainly because they're animating it. But we'll see. cautiously optimistic. Like, if you could pre-order this, I wouldn't. I would not. No way. Not giving them that benefit of the doubt. Because they've done really terrible stuff for a very long time. And, again, this is Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers just greenlit a second season of Velma for some stupid reason. Like, this is how desperate they are for money. This is like, we're going to make a Harry Potter TV show. 10 years after the movies came out. All right. You're that desperate? Listen, I get it. You need money. But really? We're going to do all this Lord of the Rings stuff after everybody's got a terrible taste in their mouth from Rings of Power? Or at least it's animated. We're going to do a second season of Velma. Really? Everybody hated it. Everybody. All right. It's your money. Keep wasting it. Instead of, investing in new stuff, taking risks in new stuff, CEOs are like, I can't lose my job. And so we're going to go to whatever's safe, and we're going to hire terrible writers, and everybody's going to hate us anyway. All right. Good luck. Gus Becerra, sorry I'm late. Just passing by. Kind of busy. I'll catch the replay and give you that like. Stay thirsty, my friends. Hashtag RFK Jr. for press. All right, Gus Becerra, thanks for joining us. Cheers. Thanks for passing by. Let's see. What else? Next story. Oh, this could be fun. So, as I mentioned before. Well, actually, I mentioned it after watching the movie. It could be fun for there to be a Nintendoverse, and the creator of Mario and Donkey Kong, Shigeru Miyamoto, has teased a future of Nintendo movies, and it's basically confirmed that they're going to make other Nintendo movies. It's not technically clear which one. However, we do kind of have news related to that. Again, I said it would be awesome, and they should listen to me, but whatever. The tease here right now is relating to The Legend of Zelda, because everybody cares about Zelda right now, because Zelda is the hottest Nintendo franchise right now because of Tears of the Kingdom. It's hot. It's a hot commodity. And so there were rumors, well, not rumors. Somebody made let's just say a bad report. I'd say a reporter fucked up. So a reporter recently reported that Universal Pictures had closed the deal on an animated movie adaptation of the Nintendo video game, meaning The Legend of Zelda. This was actually incorrect. So everybody thought that this meant that Illumination, who made the original Mario movie, would be making a Legend of Zelda movie. This is not correct. It's incorrect. Illumination actually had to come out and clarify this. So, let me see, what is it that... Okay, so this is from Chris Melandri, the founder and CEO of Illumination Studios. So, I don't know where that came from. I mean, I can understand how people would surmise all sorts of things, because obviously we've had a great experience working together. My relationship with Nintendo now includes being on the board of directors, so I understand how people can surmise these things. But in terms of the specifics, that was just something that I've been hearing lots of reports. This is just about what's next between Nintendo and Illumination. So, the news said Universal is making a Zelda movie. They're getting the rights to do it, and Universal hasn't called me. I'd like to think I have good enough relationship with Universal. I did give them a 24-hour heads up about the story. Nobody's had an issue with it, so I get it, blah, blah. So, long story short, Universal wants to make a Zelda movie. It's not clear if it's going to be animated or if it's going to be live action. If it's animated, it's not clear if it's going to be done by Illumination or DreamWorks or somebody else. Now, you would think if they just made a very successful Mario movie, they would, stick with the horse that got him there. But, maybe they got another idea. Maybe DreamWorks gave him a really, really good pitch. The point is, supposedly, Universal negotiated the thing with Nintendo. Again, it's not really confirmed. It's reported. Reported does not mean confirmed. And even if they get the rights to it, it doesn't mean that it's actually going to happen, because, again, it's kind of a difficult franchise to turn into film because the main character doesn't talk. So they may encounter a few issues there. However, does Zelda have more than enough lore and stories that they could turn into a movie? Definitely. And it's super simple. They could make it, a little bit more creative. Will they capture the soul of it? I don't know. But it's basically the story of a hero trying to save the princess so that they can save the kingdom of Hyrule together and defeat Ganondorf, whoever the enemy of that particular game is. Super simple. The story's super simple. It's a very simpler formula. The thing is, you know, how you interact with that world and how you make it enjoyable for a wider audience and all that. It could be done. It's just hard, again, because you're going to give Link a personality that he's never really had before, or at least not in the games that I played, because you, as the player, you just imagine what Link says. You imagine his person, you imagine everything. We've never seen it, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to be the way I imagined it, so we'll see how that goes. Wait, how did Nintendo not capitalize on the Mario movie with a new Mario game? Okay, gotta go. I can explain that. It's very simple. The Japanese do not care about money. They do not. And Nintendo is one of the most bizarre companies out there. Right? They don't make any damn sense. Their history is really bizarre. Really, really bizarre. Starting with they were originally not a video game company. And I'll give you the perfect example. So, you guys, does your phone count your steps? You know, I forget what's that called, but let's say the step counter. Because my watch has a step counter, and I know iPhones have a step counter and all that stuff, and if you have a Fitbit or whatever, it counts your steps. Supposedly, the most accurate step counter that's ever existed was created for Pokemon Gold and Silver. It was like a little Pokeball thing that you carried around, and so every step you took in the real world counted as a step in the video game world, and it was for you to hatch eggs. Nintendo created that. So Nintendo has in their vault the technology that is the best step counter ever made by man, and they haven't sold it to anybody. They haven't capitalized on it. I guess you could argue that Pokemon Go kind of, but they really didn't use the same technology. So why they don't use it or why they don't sell it is beyond me. I don't know. The only answer I have is that they do not care about money. The Japanese do not care about money, which is sometimes good and sometimes bad. And now, it's really bizarre because then you watch the Pokemon games and you're like, this is clearly a money grab. So what the fuck is it? I don't understand. Is it just like specific to that franchise that they do care about money? Or they're getting so much money from that franchise that it allows them not to care about money for the other ones? I don't know. But again, we were in Universal Studios. We were about to ride the Mario Kart game. And I was just thinking of all the ways that they could have made money from that thing. It's like, you buy a little amiibo or whatever of your favorite character, and then or a custom character, and that's who you see in the in the AR thing. Like I would probably done it. Like I'm in Universal Studios, sure. I'll buy a little thing of my favorite Mario Kart, guy, my main. And it'll be like the greatest souvenir ever because I got to play with him and all that stuff in Super Nintendo World. But they don't do it. Why? Because they do not care about... There's so many ways that Nintendo can make so much money. And they just don't. I don't know why. I don't know what to tell you. Your guess is as good as mine. But whatever. The point is, supposedly, Universal will make a Zelda movie. We don't know what it's going to look like, if it's going to be action, if it's live action, if it's going to be animated. Hopefully it's animated, but we'll see. When I get more information about this, I'll let you know. What other stuff do I got here in the doc? Oh, we got new information about the Flash movie. Well, not specifically the Flash. So, director Andy Muschietti, who directed the newest Flash movie, has been hired to direct the DCU Batman movie, The Brave and the Bold. So, if you guys remember a few weeks back, I talked about the plan that James Gunn has for the DCU and how he's going to reset and all that stuff. And supposedly, it's very important. Flashpoint Paradox is really important. And Blue Beetle is going to be the first DCU movie and all that stuff, yada, yada, yada. And the director for the Flash movie is this guy, Andy Muschietti. Now, I haven't seen the Flash movie. I'm planning on it. But if his performance was so good in The Flash, they hired him to take on the next Batman movie, The Brave and the Bold, this could be a really good thing. if after seeing the Flash movie and I'm like, this is garbage, then this is a really bad thing for the DCU. We'll see how it is. But I mean, James Gunn had a lot of praise for this guy. James Gunn is the new head of the DC Cinematic Universe, and this is what he had to say. We saw the Flash even before taking the reins at DC Studios and knew we were in the hands of only a visionary director. But who the hell wrote this? Honestly, seriously. Well, whatever. I'll read it as it's said, and I think they got it wrong, but okay. We saw the Flash even before taking the reins at DC Studios, and we were in the hands of only a visionary director, but a massive DC fan. Now, I'm assuming that they're missing and we knew we were, they fucked up. And so it should have been, and we knew we were in the hands of visionary director, of not only a visionary director, but a massive DC fan. So, it's a magnificent film, funny, emotional, thrilling, and Andy's affinity and passion to these characters and the world just resonates throughout every frame. And so when it came time to find the director for Brave and the Bold, there was really only one choice. So, there you go. Whew, that was a headache to read because they wrote it terribly. But anyway, there you go. If you're curious about the future of the DCCU, it's going to be this guy. And if you've seen the Flash movie, you're excited or terrified for it. We'll see. We'll see which one it is. Next, this is just a piece of news that I liked. So, actor Paddy Considine talked about the praise that George R.R. Martin gave him for his performance in House of the Dragon. Now, for those of you who don't know, Paddy Considine played the character King Viserys the first in the HBO series House of the Dragon. And I gotta tell you, this one made me really happy to read because I praised this man every single episode. Pretty much every single episode, he was the best actor by far in the entire show. And spoiler alert, but it's going to be a problem moving forward because the rest of the actors are not on the same level. Maybe the younger girls were, but the older ones definitely not. So it's going to be interesting to see where the show goes. But here's what actor Paddy Considine said that George R. R. Martin told him. Now, for those of you who don't know, George R. R. Martin is the original writer of the books, A Song of Ice and Fire, and, you know, House of the Dragon, all that stuff, which is what Game of Thrones was based on, all that stuff. And imagine as an actor getting this praise. So this is what Paddy said. His words to me were, "You played Viserys better than he ever imagined. Your Viserys is better than my Viserys." So, like, imagine that. Like, I'm super happy for the guy because the dude gave his all. He acted his heart out for Viserys. He made a character that was super interesting, compelling, lovable, hateable, pathetic, respectable has times over. So I really like this performance. Again, I'm going to miss him on the show. So hearing that makes me really happy. Now, George R. R. Martin has mentioned that other actors made him, reconsider the way that he'd written their specific characters. Particularly, I don't know if you're going to remember, but Osha, you guys remember back in season 1, the wildling that they captured and that she ended up protecting basically Bran and Rickon, that wildling. She plays a character in Harry Potter. What was her name? I don't know, the pink-haired lady who married the guy who turns into a werewolf. Lupin? I don't know. But it's the same actress. And it's like, oh, well, her performance made me reconsider the way I wrote this character. So that's really high praise. Like, that just made me happy to hear. Good for you. You did such a good job that you made the creator reconsider the way that he'd written a character. That's just phenomenal. Good for you. Good for you, Paddy. You deserve it. You deserve all the awards for your performance there as Viserys. Because honestly, him walking into the throne room is among the best scenes in Game of Thrones. Like, from beginning to end, the way it was written and developed and all that stuff. It was phenomenal. And it was because this man knocked it out of the park. So, good for him. Hopefully this leads to a bunch of really cool jobs in the future. And now we get to the piece of news that I put in the title of this thing because I didn't really know what to title it, but it's the one that I found the most interesting. And that's a bunch of scientists creating artificial humans. The bastards. Again, this always brings me back to Jurassic Park. It's like, just because you could doesn't mean you were so focused on whether or not you could, you never stopped to wonder whether or not you should. And this is, again, one of my issues with the AI, because I know there's going to be one idiot that just like, I just wanted to see if I wanted to see if I could do it. So the story here is human embryos created without an egg or a sperm and controversial breakthrough. So, again, in a dramatic scientific first, researchers have created synthetic human embryos without using a sperm or an egg. No one knows if these embryonic structures created from stem cells could develop into a viable living organism or what that organism might be like. But the breakthrough is sure to ignite furious ethical, legal, and scientific debate. Ya think? Ya think? So, there's a lot of, this is what it was created in the California Institute of Technology, and so this is what they said. Our human model is the first human embryo model that specifies amnion and germ cells, precursor cells of egg and sperm. Basically, I'll dumb it down for you. They took stem cells and they managed to coax them into becoming an embryo. So for those of you who don't know, embryo is eventually grown and become humans. Now, clearly they haven't tried turning it into a human yet or growing it, but this leads us to speculate about the future. So, if you paid attention there, these are basically clone babies. They're artificial clone babies. And we know that humanity's working on fake wombs, artificial wombs. In fact, let me show you. This is what they look like. Well, it's not what they look like. But if you guys have seen, this video was popular a few years back that apparently artificial wombs are going to be a thing in the future. And I agree. There's been a bunch of really interesting development in that particular arena because mainly humanity has created its first successful artificial womb and grew a sheep on it. So there you go. This is the picture of the sheep that was grown in an artificial womb, meaning grown outside of the mother. And supposedly, it developed all the way without any issues. And so the video came out showing, a bunch of pods. And so the possibility is that in the future, instead of women having babies come out of them, the babies will grow in pods. And so they'll be pod babies. Now, add to that the fact that they're making artificial embryos and artificial wombs. That means that they could start a production line of clone babies. And if you can genetically decide what kind of, modify it so that it comes out exactly the way you want it, we got the possibility of creating a bunch of clone super soldiers. So who had that dystopian future, in their bingo card? We already got AI here. We already got, a bunch of, what is it? The authoritarian stuff from 1984, the censorship stuff from 1984. Now we got the Star Wars Clone Wars. You think they're not gonna use them for military stuff? If you could clone, now we're in Metal Gear territory? Seriously? What the fuck is going on? What the hell is wrong with scientists? What are you doing, guys? I don't understand. What's the point? What's the point? But whatever. This also brings up a pretty interesting thing because, as I always said, you know what I said about the pod? The artificial womb? This actually brings up a pretty interesting debate on the abortion side. Because, listen, I think abortion is pretty much, it's a lost fight. It's just a matter of us getting there. If we already know who's on the wrong side of history of that one, and it's purely technological. There will be a point, because we know they're working on it, and they're getting pretty good results. We know there's going to be a point where humans can be taken out of the mother and grown in a pod. That will happen. It's just a matter of time. And so the moment that happens, the abortion fight is gonna stop being, women's rights versus the right of the unborn, because women's rights are no longer, being burdened. Then it's gonna become something else. So what are you gonna fight for? So that's why I think that one's already done. It's a lost fight. It's only, it's like a chess game. When somebody says, yeah, checkmate in like 50 moves, you still got to make the 50 moves, but the checkmate's done. That one's over. So if you keep fighting it, congratulations, you're on the wrong side of history. And it's going to be really funny when they show all those videos of people, you're like, yeah, I support this. And then being shown, the way that Nazis were shown, in the videos, like, yay, Nazis and stuff. Yay, we support them. Like all the German people celebrating it. It's going to be hysterical because, propaganda is always going to go that way. So we'll see how that goes. That's just my prediction. And I hate it, but I don't tend to vote. I don't tend to, go against technology. Oh, but I mean, I hate that technology is going to win because, again, it means that I'm conceding the fact that AI is going to beat us eventually. But I don't see a way around it. I don't see a way to argue it. But back to this whole thing. That topic is not really enjoyable. In William Wallace's word, we will fight for our freedom. Yeah, but in that case, you already got your freedom. So what are you gonna do? Like, you already have your freedom. And so this, like I said, this brings up something pretty interesting with the clone babies, legally and all that stuff, even morally, or even religiously, all that stuff. Hey, does a clone baby have a soul? Now, you guys may or may not know how I feel about clones. I don't like clones. If I ever came face to face with a clone of mine, I would immediately try to kill it. Why? Because I know it will immediately try to kill me. Plain and simple. So it's like survival of the fittest here. I don't like clones. I don't like the DA clones. I think it's a bad idea to have something out there that could immediately take over your life like that. I don't like it. Now, having a clone, kind of the island style where you could harvest it for organs and all that stuff, seems kind of cruel. Seems kind of mean. Seems also massively convenient and evil, but it's probably not the greatest thing. Gingers don't have souls and they exist, lol. Checkmate there, buddy. But yeah, so you start wondering, if you start just cloning a bunch of artificial babies, well, if you want to debate them, do they have souls? You can debate that. There's no way to prove it, so I don't really feel there's a point to debating it. But the question is, do they have rights? Does an artificial baby have rights? Is it a human? What makes a human a human? And again, it's an interesting question. It's a very interesting question. And so, are there babies that are just owned by the government? Can the government do whatever they want? Or can they actually choose to be something they want to be? Like, that's like a God-given human right. You're born, and if you were created by the military, does that mean that the military owns you? Are you a thing? Are you a person? Like, if you decide, you know what, I kind of don't want to be a super soldier, I kind of want to go be a painter. Will they allow you? Will they, axe you? If you're defective, can they just axe you? It opens up, some pretty interesting things. So if you start, opening up the possibility of killing clones, does that mean, that does that, set a slippery slope where it makes it easier to kill other people? I do not know. Again, I don't like clones for this specific reason. It opens up, it just raises too many questions. Too many freaking questions, and none of them are, I don't like the question of any of them. I don't like the answer to any of them. Chuck Dominguez, in Rob Zombie's words, more human than a human, more human than a human, more human. Again, this is not easy stuff. Technology was supposed to make things easier, to make life easier, but so far it's just, and it's one after the other, man. It just does not stop. It's going on a crazy pace, and it's just like, could you just, stop doing stupid apocalyptic stuff for just 1 second? Just one? There would be no problem with AI if it was developed as a tool to facilitate your life and taking decisions and all that stuff. That'd be fine. But they're trying to make it an artificial thing. They're trying to make it, think. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? This is a terrible idea. Why are you making artificial humans? Why? Now, is there going to be a point, and I'm assuming you're going to genetically modify them, And so it's going to be a point, like, are we going to reach, what is it, the movie? Is it with Ethan Hawke, where, you know, there's the people who have been genetically modified, and then the people who are born normally, and the people who have been genetically modified think they're superior to the other ones, so he has to pretend. I forget the name of the movie. But it's like, really? How many apocalyptic sci-fi scenarios do we need to reach before these fuckers just stop? Now, there's also the possibility if we hit all of them at once, they kind of cancel each other out. But something's gotta win. Something. I'm hoping what ends up being, you know, the accurate one is the one where we just, you know, completely destroy everything and just completely reverse back to nature. You know? That I wouldn't hate that. Like, I'd prefer that over having robot overlords. Definitely. I'd prefer that. Well, a clone army. How do I feel about a clone army? You know, just going out there and fighting each other. Clones versus clones. Is that better? Whew, that's an interesting question. Is it better for a bunch of your, you know, clones to go out and die over your citizens? Is it okay to breed people just for them to go for that particular purpose? I don't think it's a good thing. Doesn't really seem ethical either. Oof. Or the movie with Sly Red. What do you mean, Sly Red? I remember there's a movie Red, but that's Bruce Willis and Morgan Freeman being old. Sylvester Stallone? Which one are you talking about? Red. I don't know. I need to look into it. Yeah. The point is, what the fuck is going on, man? Seriously. What the hell? Clones, artificial babies, artificial wombs. I see the benefit. Honestly, I see the benefit for an artificial womb. I understand it. And I know there's a bunch of people who are going to be like, those are not real humans, blah, blah, blah. And my argument would be like, would you rather have a dead baby, like an aborted baby, or a baby born in an artificial womb? And I'm pretty sure I'm going to win that argument, right? So I have no issue with it. I see the medical advances. Some women can't carry a baby past a certain point, so taking it out of the mother and putting it in an artificial womb makes sense. Of course, there's gonna be differences, the interaction with the mother and all that stuff. It sounds really weird to also make a baby in a lab, and you know, like you're custom ordering something. That's really bizarre, but you know, it's better than the alternative, I guess. But artificial embryos, like, what's the purpose? What is the purpose of doing this? They're gonna say a bunch of BS, like, so we can study precursor cells of egg and sperm, blah blah blah. Listen, I know there's advantages to stem cell research. The problem is that it's really hard to get stem cells, so cloning them, all right, I get it. It's better than, you know, harvesting them from a bunch of dead babies. This just seems weird. I don't like it. Like, my gut feeling is like, this is bad. This is a bad idea. I could be wrong, you know? I could end up with egg on my face on this one, but we'll see. I think you mean Judge Dredd? Is that the one? Because there's a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger about clones. I think, what's it called? I don't know what it's called, but there's a movie with clones and Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Governator. I don't know, but like I said, honestly, we're living in a time that's just way too interesting for its own good. Can we just go back to boring? Like a little bit boring? I like boring. I enjoy boring. It's better than all the chaos that's going around, you know? You just go to work, you get paid, you come home, you hang out with your family, hang out with your friends. You don't have to worry about AI taking over the world, taking over your job, clone babies replacing you. Like, there could seriously be a situation where AI starts making clone humans to do whatever they want and gets rid of all the natural humans because we're, I don't know, too unruly or something. Like, there's now an actual scenario where that could happen. Why? You know, humanity's just gonna destroy itself. Like, That, you know how they say that one of the reasons why we probably haven't encountered intelligent life is because there's a point where intelligent life just kind of destroys itself. I mean, intelligent life in the universe, out there in the universe, just ends up destroying itself. You know, kind of like when a forest grows too wild, the fire's inevitable. But god damn, it's just all at once, and it's not like we weren't warned about it. Like, people have been writing about apocalyptic futures for a really long time. Just read the fucking apocalypse. And we just don't listen. What's it gonna take? What's it gonna take? Seriously, it's like they're on a race to just being the most stupid. And the problem is that they don't see that this is gonna eventually mix. I don't know. If I get a clone and put that clone to work and I still get paid, then I'm okay with it. Listen. All right, that scenario. What is stopping that clone from becoming you? Would you do it? You need to understand, this is a clone of you. Would you be okay working for another you so that another you could just be like, I'm chilling at home? Would you be okay doing that? Is that a sacrifice that you'd be willing to make? Or would you be like, fuck that guy, I'm doing my own thing? Or I'm just gonna kill him and take over his life, because that's also a possibility, and it's probably more likely than you think. What would you prefer? Like, it sounds nice. Like, if you only look at the positives, this is great. This is phenomenal. This is a phenomenal breakthrough. Artificial babies. Like, where the sky's the limit. But if you put your feet on the ground and look at reality, there's probably a lot more harm that could come. Like this, I'm sorry, I just realized that I described the Matrix. Like, there's a possibility that this is the Matrix. Making artificial babies, robots making artificial babies to harvest them for fuel. It took me a minute to figure out that that's what I said, but yes, another post-apocalyptic scenario. Seriously. How many? And again, we knew about this. We knew. We've been warned. People just don't listen. All right, and again, I get that this is not going to age well, probably, if it ends up, being okay and all that stuff. But, and even if I'm right, nobody's going to see this, because the AI is going to, slowly and cautiously delete everything from the internet. Everything that was negative. I'll be erased from history. That's a depressing thought. Yeah. But whatever, you gotta still have fun. You gotta enjoy your Mondays. You gotta have a beer. This was supposed to be a relaxing Monday thing. I started off really relaxed, in a really good mood. Now, not so much. But we'll see how it goes. Oh. No, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't think it's gonna reach that level. I'd like to think, I believe in Darwinism. I like to think that, stupid people get what's coming to them, and eventually everything balances out. And if just plan hard enough, things will eventually work out. Or if it looks like AI is not being a benefit to humanity, it will be changed, modified, or completely deleted. I still believe that there's time to fix all that stuff. I just went to a really dark spot before, because it's freaky. But anyway, I think it's a good place to stop, on a downer. The downer news. Scientists make artificial babies. Artificial wombs. They can make clone super soldiers. They can clone babies and harvest them for fuel and create the Matrix. Jesus Christ. Hopefully that doesn't happen, though. And you know what's the beauty of it? It's not gonna happen to us. We're too old. We're not gonna live through those times. Maybe a few generations in the future. We'll see how it goes. What year was the Matrix? Oh, they didn't even know, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But there you go. I'm gonna leave you on that downer. Yeah, should I give you on a positive note? What would be a good thing? What would be a good thing about? Oh, okay. So let's leave this on a positive note. Maybe they found a way that they can clone stem cells, and they're just gonna leave it at that. They're not actually going to try to. All right, so they want to find the embryos because those are the stem cells, and if they could find a way to replicate stem cells without having to create babies, and kill, well, without having to, use dead babies or whatever, then they could study those stem cells to fix other stuff, even regenerate organs, or what is it, to cure cancer and stuff like that. So there's good stuff that could happen. Sure, there's good stuff. Let's focus on that. Let's think positive. Let's think that that's going to be the future where, because of this, a bunch of diseases get cured. Hopefully. I'm trying to be optimistic here. And it's not going to be the Matrix, clone babies, super soldiers that, just submit us into oblivion. I'll leave it there. As always, comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Super Dario World and at Dario. You know what? I think I might actually be getting sick. Because that one really brought me down. I also started to feel like really hot, and I have a fan hitting me. So maybe I might be having a fever. Or maybe it was a prophecy. A fever dream prophecy. Beware. As always, like, share, subscribe. I really appreciate it. It really helps me out. Helps the channel. Tomorrow, I should be talking with Eric about the Season 3 of Demon Slayer, the Swordsmith Village arc. But if I don't, it's because I'm sick. And so I just decided to not sound like this and terrible. And just be like, yeah, that was fun. It was enjoyable. I don't know what I'm going to do the rest of the week, to be honest. It all depends if I'm sick or not. But we'll see. So always, thank you for joining me. And I'll see you again next time.